And what's up, guys? Red Duelist here, back at it again with another deck profile. Today we got one that we promised quite some time ago. It's on our good pal, the Cubics. Cubics were created for the new Yu-Gi-Oh movie, and they looked like trash in the movie, and they played like trash outside of it, until a certain little boy came out of the woodworks and made them halfway playable. And now they're getting a couple tops around the globe. Nothing too crazy, so just thought I'd put my own little spin on it, see what I could come up with. I barely know how to play the deck, to be quite honest, but from the combos that I have learned and taught myself, it seems really degenerate and mean, and that's what I'm going for in this day and age. So let's get it right on started here. We got 3 copies of Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Lord. He's basically, there's summoning conditions like High Priestess of Prophecy. You reveal 3 cubics with different names, special summon him. Let me read his effect real quick. Unaffected by other monsters' activated effects if their attack is 3,000 or less. He can attack twice if he destroys a monster by battle, and then during your end phase, both players take 3,000 damage. So he's your main deck boss monster pretty much. He's a big boy, big strong boy. Very mean, very powerful. If you get him out turn 1, you know, save for kaijus, he's pretty hard to deal with. Let's get him out of there. Alright. And then we move on to the card that makes them even remotely playable. 3 copies of Duza, the Meteor Cubic Vessel. On summon, he's foolish. And he has another effect that gives him attack points, but that's never used. You use him for the foolish. He's the card you want to see 100% of the time in every single opening hand you get. He's the main playmaker. He should have just been released in the regular movie pack. Don't know why they waited until the gold edition to release him, because now he looks like trash in this ugly gold. But he's a good boy. He didn't do nothing wrong. He's just been given the wrong end of the stick. Now we get into the remaining cubics. The remaining tributed cubics, I guess you could say. So we got 1 copy of Endura Doomvolt. Endura Doomvolt requires sending 3 cubic monsters you control to the graveyard. When you do, he gains 2,400 attack. If you special summon from the hand, you burn your opponent for 800 damage. And then if it's sent to your graveyard by your opponent's card, you can target up to 3 cubic monsters in your graveyard, special summon them, and then add a cubic card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. Yeah, he's a pretty good boy. I never summon him. I never summon most of these cubics. The only 2 I summon really are Duza and Trinity. Or Crimson Nova. I always get the name mixed up. Alright, and then we got 1 copy of Buster Gun Deal. Buster Gun Deal, same summoning condition, 3 cubic monsters, but he gains 3,000 attack. And he can make a 2nd and 3rd attack during each battle phase. And if in your possession, if he's destroyed by an opponent's card, by battle or card effects, same thing, target 3 cubic monsters in your graveyard, special summon them, and then you can add 1 cubic card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So they're your main big searchers. The rest of the smaller cubics only search one particular one. Like this little baby boy here, Vulcan Dragny, the Cubic King. You send 2 cubics to summon him, and he gains 1,000 attack, and if he's summoned from the hand, you inflict 800 damage to your opponent. At the end of the damage step, if he battles, you target up to 3 Vijom the Cubic Seed in your graveyard, send him to the graveyard, special summon those, and then you can add Endura Doomvolt from your deck to your hand. I've never summoned him. Never once have I summoned this card. And you'll notice a theme with the smaller ones is like, hey, they gain like no attack, how are they gonna get these effects off? You'll see. They have some pretty fucking crazy spell and trap support that makes them, like, honestly, if it was any other archetype, it would be tier 0 support. Like, it's that good. Alright, so we got another copy right here. We got Dark Garnax. You send 1 cubic monster to summon him, and if you summon that way, he gains 1,000 attack. When you destroy a monster by battle, you can target up to 2 Vijom in your graveyard, send him to the graveyard, and special summon them, and then you add a Blade Garudia, the Cubic Beast, who is not run. But, I mean, most of the Cubic Beasts do the same shit, just in different ways, and most of them are pretty bad. And we round up these cubics with Giragail, the Cubic King. You send 1 cubic, he gains 800 attack, and he inflicts 800 damage. At the end of the damage step, if he battles, 2 Vjam, send him to grave, special summon those, and then add Vulcan Dragni. So, and then we get to the other main playmaker of your monster lineup, triple Vjam Cubic Seed. Nice level 1 monster that can't be destroyed by battle. At the end of the damage step, he goes Spell and Trap Zone, places a cubic counter on something. What the hell is a cubic counter? Well, a cubic counter makes the monster with it not able to attack and has their effects negated. And while he's a continuous spell by that effect, you can just go ahead and special summon him for free. No biggie. That effect comes up more often than it should, because this deck does have some consistency issues if you can't get your right cards. But if they get the right cards, their plays can be pretty explosive. But I like Vjam, he's pretty cool. Wish he had a different effect, but can't complain. Then you round up the monster lineup with 1 copy of Maxi, because you need to draw your cards. So I believe that's 15 monsters, if I remember counting right. Not that big of a monster lineup. I'm going to move on to the spells, and we get my favorite card, Cubic Wave. So this card, you target a cubic monster you control and a face-up monster your opponent controls. The attack of the monster you control becomes double its current attack, and if it does, the attack of the monster your opponent controls becomes half, and that's permanent. And then you can banish this and any number of cubic monsters in your graveyard and target face-up monsters your opponent controls equal to the number of those banished cubic monsters. Place 1 cubic counter on each of them, and the same cubic counter effect. Oh man, Wave is a crazy card. All of the cubic spells and traps are pretty insane when you think about them objectively without thinking, oh, they're cubic support. They are ridiculous. We're going to continue on with the normal spells here. We got 1 copy of Dark Hole for board removal because you need it. And we got 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods because all of their spells and traps like to be in grave for the most part. And there's certain ones that you want to send as soon as possible. Then we play 1 copy of Fusion Conscription because cubics do have a fusion monster, and his materials are 3 of this guy. And you want to see this guy as soon as possible. So you use it to search him, even though you can't play it that turn. It's kind of trash, but it does its job. It helps you set up. Got another board wipe here. We got 1 Raigeki, and we got the 1 Reasoning. Reasoning's pretty important. The only 3 monsters that can be summoned off of Reasoning are Max C, Vjam, and Duza. So you're most likely going to hit Vjam or Duza. If you hit Max C, I'm so sorry. But I usually hit Duza off of it pretty soon. I really like Reasoning. I could see Monster Gate working as well. I could see them both working together. I could see them working in conjunction with the Cubic Trap that you run in this deck. But that's another tech for another time. Getting on to the quick plays. We got 1 Cosmic Cyclone for removal. 3 Pianissimo for protecting your big cubic boy. Because he's very important. And if you don't protect him, you're going to lose. There's just no way around it. If you can get him out and he's just like, haha, Kaiju'd, you're fucked. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, you can't do anything like that. But if you get like a board wipe played on you, you could just do that and save him. And he's just a little 100 attack boy that still does some mean stuff. And we move on to our continuous spells now. We got 1 copy of Contract with Dawn 1000. Both players take 1000 when it's activated and draw a card. And then if a player has a spell card revealed by this effect, or all cards they draw after this card is activated must be revealed permanently, like forever, as long as it's on the field. And then if they have a spell card revealed like that, they cannot normal summon or set monsters. So it forces both players to do some really dumb shit. But I mean, you special summon more than you normal summon this deck, so it doesn't really affect the cubic player as much as it honestly should. But it's a fun tech choice. It's draw power. It's burn power. Because you can either play super aggressively and just keep burning your opponent down, or you can just attack with a 3k beater 400 times over. We round up the spell lineup with my other favorite card, Cubic Karma, 3 copies of it. So when it's activated, you target a cubic monster you control except Vjam, Send any number of V-Joms from your hand or deck to the graveyard, then that monster gains 800 attack for each. So, guaranteed 2400 like attack boost, no matter what. And it's just crazy, because you can get some dumb stuff. Dark Garnex, 3400 attack, turn 1. Like, Duza, 4000 attack, turn 1. Crimson Nova, 5400 attack, turn 1. Like, it's so crazy. And then during your opponent's turn, if V-Jom is special summoned by the effect of a cubic monster, you can send this card to the graveyard and have your opponent's life points. And you can also banish this card from your graveyard and add a cubic monster from your deck to your hand. So this is your main primary searcher off of Foolish Burial Goods. This is one of the plays that you're gonna want to go for early to see Duza as fast as possible to start your plays off. And now we get into the trap lineup. Most builds I see only play the one trap, and that's the 3 copies of Unification. I don't fuck with that. I play a lot of traps because I like them. So I got 2 copies of a little bit of a Storming Mirror Force here, because I want to protect my cards as much as possible. And if I I never see my traps anyways, so it's better to have them and not need them than need them and not have them, you know what I mean? And then we get the big boy, 3 copies of Unification of the Cubic Lords. So this is your polymerization in the deck. It summons your Cubic Extra Deck monster using materials from hand or field. And then if a face-up cubic monster is destroyed by battle or leaves the field, you can banish this from your graveyard. Special summon a level 4 or lower cubic from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And if you do, it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. So, there's many things you can do with this. Many things. I usually just use it to summon 2 Duzas in a turn and just accelerate the graveyard play super hard. I've never used it to fuse. I really wish I could have used it to fuse, and I'm sorry, one of them's gold. No one has ultras, and it really upsets me. And we round off the main deck, 2 copies of Solemn Strike. You know, bada bing, bada boom. Get that shit out of my room. So, if I remember counting correctly, got a 40 card main deck. I don't really have a full extra deck built for this. It's mostly just ideas. But the one card you're going to always want to run is Crimson Nova Trinity, the Dark Cubic Lord. So, as said earlier, 3 Crimson Novas summon him. Must be fusion summoned with the above materials, can't be summoned by other ways, cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effect. When he declares an attack, you have your opponent's life points. When he destroys a monster by battle, you can activate his effect and make him have a second attack, and then if you take effect damage, your opponent takes the same amount of damage. 4,500, 3,000, if you get him out, you win. Unless they kaiju you. You know how it goes. And then, ideas number 1, Princess Sprite and Dullahan. Because V-Jom's a level 1, and occasionally you will get multiples out there, and he's not really hard to deal with after he's out of there. So, like, you can go into one of these, do a play, make a link summon if you have to. By the way, I don't have any links in here to show off, but, you know, just regular stuff, Decode Talker. You could probably play Link Karibo as well, whenever that comes out, just because V-Jom's level 1, so just a couple decent ideas going around. Princess Sprite lets you excavate, and if it's a spell or trap, you add it to your hand. If it's a monster, it goes to grave. Dullahan, during either player's turn, detach, target a face-up monster on the field, have its attack until the end phase. It's been a long time since I've seen Dullahan, I'm so sorry. He's my friend, though. I used to play Ghost Tricks. 1 Diamond Dire Wolf. This could be Diamond Dire, Tornado Dragon, just any kind of spot removal you have. I just don't have a Tornado Dragon. Utopia package. The big monsters that you're going to summon other than Crimson Nova are level 4. So you're going to see a lot. You have a lot of room for rank 4s in here. There's a little bit of room for rank 2s as well, but rank 4s are going to be the ones that you would go into the most, if at all, to be honest, because extra deck is ultimately not necessary in this deck at all. It's nice to have in case shit happens, but, you know, Lightning, Utopia, you do what you gotta do. Dark Rebellion, to steal your opponent's monster's attack and attack over for funny looking damage. It's hilarious. I love this card. It wins me games every time I use it. Oh, nice time to throw my phone across the room. Ouroboros, he's Book of Moon, with a 2200 attack and 2400 ass. He's cool. He's Mace Stroke, but just bigger stats. And then the last thing I had roaming around in my mind here was 1 Castel. You know. Alright. So, yeah, there's other stuff coming down the pipeline that you could probably run in here. Baguska comes out in Circuit Break. That card's going to be insane. There's tons of Link monsters. You could probably make Borload extremely easily in this deck. Topologic might not be the worst idea, because you can just pop your Rejoms over and over and over again if you just keep summoning them to those zones and just blowing up your opponent's board. Thus plussing off of your cards, like making Unification the most live card in the game. So there's tons of ways to play this deck. There's tons of things to think about when you go into it. But that's all I got for you guys right now. Got a couple more deck profiles coming down the pipeline. Got a couple ideas going through our heads for some discussion videos. We're all broke, and no one wants to drive the meet up, so we might be just getting a couple solo member videos for a while. But anyways, this is going to be Slife Red Duelist signing out. Like, subscribe. Slife Red Duelist forever! Peace.